Hey guys, this is Robin with Weight Loss Apocalypse. I know it's been a few weeks. I'm kind of behind with Thanksgiving, and I'm helping my sister decorate this mansion and for a client of hers with like 8 Christmas trees. So I'm going back and forth from Boise to Salt Lake. I've just been really, really busy. Um, Anyways, but I do have a lot of content. I think I've already posted in Patreon a good 8 videos over the course of the month, or more actually. But anyways, so I do have this little selection that I'm sharing with you today. This is a client that I've been working with for 3 weeks. 3 weeks. She's got a really interesting history. She was binge eating disorder. She's had binge eating disorder for over 30 years. She's was a traumatized as a child. She was molested from her stepfather from the ages of 6 to 13, and a lot of that has not been addressed. She's had very little therapy, and so this is really the first time she's going in to address some of these things she thought that she didn't need to address. Anyways, she's made insane levels of progress, and in this clip we're talking about how important it is for her to tell the truth. She has been denying with doctors her her blood pressure, and always in her mind going, I'm going to fix it, and the next time they see me they'll be so proud of me. So she's kind of stuck in this state of trying to prove herself. And I have posted a lot of our sessions in the Patreon account. So this little clip, we're talking about how important it is to not just to tell yourself the truth, to be open to the cognitive dissonance of reality, which will allow you to be in reality and function in reality. But for people who are coping, reality is not something they want. They're chasing a fantasy or a mirage or an illusion of what they want reality to be, and so they lie to themselves about reality to create some illusion or fantasy. Even though reality is reality and that's all there is, they're living in kind of a distorted idea of it. And in this case, she was really kind of in denial about where her body where her body really is, with the idea that she was always going to fix it, not realizing the fixing it is creating the impulsivity or cause. So this is really great session. In fact, there's a whole nother section of this session I wanted to share, but I'm not going to share all of it. You got to be in the Patreon group to see the whole thing. So if you want to watch this whole session and all the other sessions I've posted over the course of the last year, you're going to need to join the private Patreon account and become a Weight Loss Apocalypse patron. There's a link below. It's a minimum donation of $5 a month through PayPal. If you would like my help, I am available to you. All of my clients find me on YouTube. There's a link to my website below. Fill in the consult request, and I usually get back to people within the hour. So, all right, enjoy this session. And stressful,
Okay, yeah.
And the low-lying depression is typically a symptom of someone who is repressing. They're not looking at their past. They're avoiding their past. They're not facing things in their past that need to be addressed. In other words, they live in the past. You're living in the past. That's that's one way to say depression. A lot of times people currently feel great about their life, but they don't know why they have depression. Well, because they're repressing something they don't want to discuss from their past. They're holding on to past remorse, regret, loss, victimization, and stories from the past, not necessarily the present.
Okay.
A lot of people think you have to be depressed because your present is depressed.
And so here's we are. So in telling her the truth, it's really and mixed with last week we talked about isolation.
Yeah.
Isolating and punishing yourself. I just realized how much I have isolated myself from the world, even more now. Just like getting off of social media because I don't want anybody to see me.
Yeah.
It's like I hardly talk to anybody now.
Yeah, that's what we talked about when we finished our last session. Was.
And I feel that's a way of lying. Like.
Yeah, you are. It is a lie.
White lies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that you're seeing that. I love that you just said that. Like, that is so truthful what you just said. It is so true to the heart. It is lying. That's got to feel good to recognize it. To go, oh my God, I'm just promoting the facade. I will not let people know the truth. And I remember, and for many of the clients that I've worked with, they are afraid to show inadequacy, which would actually, they take the blame for inadequacy. But when you come out of the closet, you're actually supporting that the standard you held yourself to, the lie, is absolutely horrible and no one should do it. And right? It's like everybody promotes something that's unsustainable and you're embarrassed because you're not doing it or you're not reaching that level. Well, right. When do people come out and say that level is absolutely insane and people trying to reach it become insane? Like, should I be ashamed or should the rules and restrictions and the radicalism of the expectation be ashamed? Which one? Right?
The rules, of course.
Yeah, so by lying, you're basically inadvertently supporting standards of thin supremacy that are not realistic. Because you're not living in reality.
No.
An example of this would be like if people who are promoting their fitness programs or promoting their diets would tell the truth about their eating disorders and their food impulsivity and their obsessiveness with exercise and their underlying fear of rejection, abandonment, and that they really don't have confidence and their confidence is actually quite low. I mean, if they just came right out and lived truthfully, no one would support the standard they're holding themselves. They would not pursue the standard, the idealism. Because they would see the truth of the insanity that it takes to reach the ideal. It's not natural. It's, in fact,
one of them's even called insanity, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Look. See, the sense of humor's coming out. You got it. But people want to promote the ideal because attached to the ideal is a symbolism of success. So by promoting the ideal and wanting to pursue the ideal, they want attached symbolism of success. Even though if they were to tell the truth, they would say, this is miserable. I'm showing signs of depression. I'm not sleeping anymore. I have a hard time. I have anxiety. I have to compartmentalize my food in this Tupperwares. I have to carry food everywhere in Tupperwares because I can't eat out in public anymore because I have paranoia. They're not talking about that because they want to be attached to the symbolism of success with the outcome of thinness and fitness, right? So by you coming out of the closet as a bigger person, you're no longer agreeing that people who are overweight or obese should hide. Right now, or up until this point, up until your realization of this being a lie, you're supporting the lie. You're supporting the idea that only thinner people can go out in public. Only thinner people can have a voice, can be valued, can be seen as good people. You're supporting it. By coming out as someone who's, had this type of fixation on your weight and fixation on the compensations with food, for you to come out and really just love yourself and approve yourself without conditions, without physical conditions, you're essentially disproving the lies. You're no longer supporting something that is an illusion. You're living in reality.
And it really felt good yesterday. When you tell the truth,
It's
I feel like
liberating.
it's me talking, and it wasn't like up in my head trying to formulate lies to bring them out. I'm trying to explain it. When you tell the truth, I feel like it was coming from my chest and my heart, like telling the truth, rather than up in my head. Right? Like,
well, you're going
when you're
into
lying, you're formulating your lies so you can remember that lie for the future. So I feel like those are up in my head rather than telling the truth from my heart.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. What you're describing is that it is a lot of work. It's a lot of mental work and mental fixation, and it's also a form of denying the reality of what's going on. You're not admitting what's going on. You're not, even though you're consciously, it's not even, I don't think, conscious that you're doing it. You're conscious now that it is lying, but because you can see it from the other side.
Right.
You're actually just in denial. Do you see that? I'm going to deny this. I'm going to create a facade, and I believe the facade. I believe it. And so your mind fixates on it. When you say it goes down into the heart, you're so correct. What happens when you tell the truth is you are actually, you are expressing humility and admitting to yourself and then to others that you have failed. And in doing that, you're actually giving it grace. The humility to admit it is, in fact, forgiveness. Denying it, hiding it, is that forgiveness?
Oh, no.
So by expressing it and telling, correct, by expressing it and telling the truth and going into that vulnerability requires humility and grace. You might not know that, but that combination is undoing the issues. Humility and forgiveness or grace is undoing the mental illness of it all. It's like bringing in a whole new chemistry in your brain. It should feel really good. You should notice your anxiety is reduced. Like, it's like taking an antidepressant because you're facing reality. You're facing these issues. We have faced your mother. You have faced your past. We faced it. That should feel like we have undone some depression.
It really felt good. Like, it felt, like I said, it felt different. It felt like it was coming from the heart, the chest, like relieving pressure, this internal pressure that I have all the time when I have to lie to somebody who cares about me and cares about my well-being, and I continue to tell them that I'm taking care of things and I'm not. Like, that is, I feel bad that I'm lying to them, but I never really realized it was lying.
No, you were just in denial. I am perfect. You're basically saying, I'm perfect.
Postponing this, and this is coming. Don't worry, guys.
I am perfect. I can do this. Well, and that's what the energy behind it is I am capable, but it's not in a self-worth kind of way. It's in, I'm going to prove myself. It's overcompensating. You're holding yourself to a standard of perfection. And so anything that is like indicative that you're failing is going to create cognitive dissonance. And that's when you go into denial. That denial increases pressure because now you have to perform to make sure they know that you're not lying, that it's real, right? You're just trying, and it becomes so overwhelming that you end up doing nothing. So you become paralyzed. But yet the standards are, you're still holding yourself to. You still hold yourself to it. You're just in paralysis, procrastinating it all. Feeling worse and worse and worse about yourself. Yeah, but by admitting it, it's like, again, it gives you this grace to just be realistic. It's like you have permission, and you're giving yourself permission by telling the truth to be in reality. Doesn't it feel good?
It does.